The ability to get an abortion is among the biggest cases facing the Supreme Court this year, and many on both sides believe this could be the year Roe versus Wade is overturned. That landmark case remains one of the most polarizing issues in American society. And now, just imagine if you were the baby whose biological mother famously fought to have you aborted. The burden and weight that you might carry if you were then compelled to hold that secret for decades. Tonight, in her first television interview, we speak with that baby, now all grown up, at the heart of one of this nation's most bitter fights.
A lot of people didn't know that I existed, that she was able to have the abortion.
Shelley Lynn Thornton was 2.5 years old, completely oblivious to her role in history on January 22, 1973, when the landmark case Roe v. Wade was decided in the Supreme Court. When you are able to really think about the idea that your mere conception brought about arguably the most controversial Supreme Court ruling in history, what's the impact on you now?
I understand that it has nothing to do with me. It doesn't revolve around me. I wasn't the one who, created this law. I'm not the one who created this movement.
Her only involvement? She just happened to be at the center of an unwanted pregnancy her mother wanted to end. As much as this case was personal, seemingly pitting a mother against her unborn child, publicly it pitted Americans against each other. The country was deadlocked in a bitter moral battle over what constituted life. Is there any part of you that has ever given any thought to, boy, I'm kind of glad that law went into effect after I was born?
I just don't think about it. To me, I want it to be a non-issue, so I ignore it, thinking that if I ignore it long enough and hard enough, it'll go away, but it never does.
And so, at 51 years old, after decades shrouded in secrecy, the woman who was thought of only as the Roe baby is ready to tell her story. Now you're confronting it, really.
I've ignored it for this many years, and it hasn't gone away, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And so it's like, now the only thing that I can do is just to meet it head on. Her biological mother, Norma McCorvey, a cleaning woman from Katy, Texas, was 22 when she found herself pregnant for the third time. By 1970, she'd already given up 2 of her girls for adoption, but it was a desire to terminate her third pregnancy that led Norma to file a lawsuit against the state of Texas. She never did have the procedure, but more than 2 years later, against tremendous odds, Norma, who filed anonymously under the pseudonym Jane Roe, won.
The Supreme Court today ruled that abortion is completely a private matter to be decided by mother and doctor in the first 3 months of pregnancy.
By that time, Norma's third baby, Shelley, was already a toddler growing up with a family she says she loved. What was it like growing up with Ruth and Billy?
I had the best time. It was always an adventure. There was always something fun going on because we had a big family.
And you felt loved?
Oh yeah, completely, 100%.
Did you ever look for your biological parents?
No.
But in 1989, Norma was looking for her. It was the same year actress Roseanne Barr had a media-frenzied reunion with the daughter she gave up as a teen. And Shelley believes that Norma, seeing the attention it brought, wanted the same. You're 18, 10 days before your 19th birthday, and somebody says, what?
I walked past this van, and these people, jumped out of this van, and they were calling me. And I turned around, and they were like, "Are you Shelley?" And I go, "Yeah." And they were like, "Well, we've been looking for you."
Shelley says she was tricked into meeting reporters from the National Enquirer, who then revealed that her biological mother was Norma McCorvey, a.k.a. Jane Roe, the poster child for abortion.
My whole thinking is that, oh God, everybody's going to hate me because everyone's going to blame me for abortion being legal. I just completely broke down.
For a long time, you kept it a secret. You didn't tell anybody who your biological mother was. What kind of weight was that and burden for you to carry that for so many years?
It's a lot of weight. It's pretty big. I feel that it was always hard for me to form relationships with people because I felt like I was always holding something back. Like, they never really got like 100% me. I still carry that. And I probably always will.
As an 18-year-old, had you thought anything about Roe v. Wade or abortion?
I never really grew up knowing anything about abortion because it was just never not a thing that was talked about in our family. Like, if a family member had a baby, they couldn't take care of it, then somebody else in the family took it and took care of it.
In the 80s, Roe v. Wade was quickly becoming a partisan issue. Many Republicans, like President Ronald Reagan, took a firm stance against it.
We're told about a woman's right to control her own body, but doesn't the unborn child have a higher right, and that is to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness?
Pro-life! Pro-life! And those angered by the ruling sometimes resorted to violence, killing lives in the name of saving them.
They bombed the clinics because God told them to do it.
In the decades since, there have been several challenges to the ruling, but none as serious as recent legislation. Mississippi, which only has one abortion clinic left, is going before the Supreme Court this fall to ask the conservative majority to throw out Roe and roll back abortion rights nationwide. While in Texas, where Norma sued for an abortion all those years ago, a recent bill known as SB 8 has already succeeded at banning abortions after 6 weeks, with no exceptions for rape or incest, empowering civilians to enforce it with lawsuits against doctors who unlawfully perform the procedure. Clinics say it's effectively ended abortion in America's second most populated state and galvanized people on both sides. And while this decades-long debate continues to rage across the country, Shelley wants no parts of it, concerned either side would be all too eager to make her the face of their movement. Do you have an opinion about whether women should be allowed to have abortions?
I do. It's an opinion that I keep pretty close to my chest, just because I don't want either side or both sides coming at me. I'm not going to let either side use me.
Though people watching are going to say, oh, she has a cross on. That must be a message that, you know, it's her religious beliefs that she's trying to convey without answering the question.
No. So this cross is my sister cross. Jennifer and I have matching necklaces, so that we always have each other close.
Jennifer Ferguson is Norma's second daughter, who she also gave up for adoption. Much like Shelley, she too grew up in a loving home with a doting mother and a father nicknamed Dr. Wonderful, who adored her.
My childhood was amazing. I had great parents, Donna and Steve, who raised me. My dad was an anesthesiologist. My mom worked in a podiatrist's office. And my sister was in and out of college. I never did without.
With one exception, it wasn't until about a decade ago that Shelley first met her half-sister, Jennifer. Unlike Shelley, Jennifer wasn't burdened by the knowledge that her birth mother tried to abort her. As a result, Jennifer's relationship with Norma was quite different from Shelley's. Since we're here in Texas, you lived all your life in Texas, and a big conversation now is SB 8. Do you have thoughts on it?
I think it's a little bit scary that people can judge how women, what they're going to do with their bodies. I have a problem with that. Not that I'm pro-choice, pro-life, 100% either side. I will always feel that it's wrong.
Did you ever try to convince Shelley to meet Norma?
No. I did not, because I knew from a very early stage with Shelley what horrible things that Norma did to her as a young child, and I would never force that on her, ever.
Norma was a complicated figure. When her lawyers, Sarah Weddington and Linda Coffey, met her, she was seemingly the perfect candidate, a poor woman unable to afford the trip out of the state for an abortion. But what they got was a spitfire who took liberties with the truth and was haunted by a traumatic upbringing. Prior to her death, Norma would go on to switch sides multiple times, vacillating between pro-choice and pro-life, depending on which was more profitable and attention-grabbing at the time.
Norma is a wild a wild woman. She wants to be the center of attention.
There was a major headline in June 1989. It says, National Enquirer finds Jane Roe's baby. And Norma was quoted saying that she was ready to take her in my arms and give her my love and be her friend, her being you.
Right.
Did you ever feel that that was true?
No. It became apparent to me really quickly that the only reason why she wanted to reach out to me and find me was because she wanted to use me for publicity.
Have you forgiven her?
No.
Never will?
No.
Why?
A lot of reasons. Mostly because I feel that she could have handled things a lot better than she did. She could have been more upfront with what she actually wanted from me than trying to do, you know, like the warm mother-daughter reconciliation movie of the week kind of thing.
Have you been able to reconcile being this unwilling participant in history?
Yes and no, but I think a lot of people don't understand that Norma was taken advantage of in her circumstances, but I think she also took advantage of both sides.
Norma passed in 2017, once again shocking the world before she died with the revelation that she was paid by the pro-life movement to switch sides in the FX doc, AKA Jane Roe.
This is my deathbed confession.
Did they use you as a trophy?
Of course. I was the big fish.
She passed away before Jennifer could make it to the hospital. And while Shelley considered going to visit Norma on her deathbed, ultimately she decided against it. Why did you decide never to meet Norma?
She didn't deserve to meet me. She never did anything in her life to get that privilege back. She never expressed genuine feeling for me or genuine remorse for doing the things that she did, saying the things that she did.
So you have no regrets that you never met her?
No regrets.
Norma once said of her daughters that she gave them a chance at living by giving them away.
This was a birthday.
But what they're most grateful for is that she gave them each other. What do you all bring to each other's lives at this point?
Support.
Comfort.
Most definitely.
Togetherness.
Yeah.
Family.
Family. Yeah.
Our thanks to both Shelley and Jennifer.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.